All right, hello everyone. Welcome back to another edition of What's Happening Now. Please take time to like, share, and comment with this broadcast, as there might be others who can use this information. If you're not already following us on our social medias, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. We want to give a special thanks out to Will Technology, Miss Crystal Shell, of their generous donation and support for C9 Solutions. We couldn't do the things that we do in the community without their support, and of course, the support of you all. Also, we had a wonderful day today at the Somebody Loves You event. It was awesome. For those of y'all who didn't have a chance to come out or participate, volunteer, or donate a basket to those seniors, you missed out on a beautiful, beautiful time there at the Bob Harrison Center. Speaking of Bob Harrison Center, please keep in mind that the Bob Harrison Center has many, many activities for seniors that they're doing. And one of the big activities that we've learned and found out is on Thursdays, they're doing Soul Food Day, $5 soul food. You have to you have to sign up in order to get you a lunch ticket for that. It's going to be from 11 to 12:30. Again, it's Soul Food. Thursday is $5, and I think that is outstanding, outstanding, outstanding. All right. So tonight's guest, we have with us Miss Angela Walker of the Huntsville Community Drumline. Miss Walker, welcome, welcome, welcome.
Drum roll, please.
all right. So, Miss Walker, talk to us a little bit about the Huntsville Community Drumline.
Sure. So first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here on your program. I really appreciate that. And before I forget, because I am a senior citizen, yes, I am, I do want to say this. We actually have a drum program over at the Bob Harrison Center. We sure do. So on the third Tuesday of every month. See, and if I don't say it now, I'm going to forget by the time I start talking and, getting off into the conversation stuff. So we do have a drum program over there, and I want to say it's at maybe 11 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
10 or 11. So, but anyway, I'm sure they can contact the Bob Harrison Center, and they will give them all the information that they need. Yeah. So anyway, back to your first question, tell you about the Drumline. So this is an organization that I started in 2010. I am a retired teacher. I taught for 30 years, put in a lot of time. And during that time, there were several things that were taking place that prompted me to start the Drumline. So there's never like just one exact answer. One of the things that was taking place is the fact that my son, who was a drummer, he started taking drum lessons when he was 4 years old, and he was playing the drums and doing an excellent job. And by the time he got to high school, he decided that he was not going to go to college. And me being that mother, kind of went into a panic. An educated mother, I'm like, oh, you got to go to college. And he said, oh, no, I'm not going. I'm not going. I refuse to go. I'd rather sit on the side of the road with a cup and a sign saying, we'll work for food before I take another math class. So I just kind of went into panic mode and figured, okay, what can I do to make sure that he does not become a statistic or, fall by the wayside. So that was one thing that was taking place. Another thing that was taking place during that time, I actually happened to be coordinating a drumline at my church. And drumline was just phenomenal. We would go out and perform out in the city and do all kinds of performances out there. And people are always wondering, how can my child become a part of this? What can I do for, to have my child become a part of this, awesome drumline? And, sometimes the church, they don't necessarily want to join the church. They just want to, their kid to play the drums. So I kind of got the idea, well, what if we came up with a community drumline? And I was just kind of always going around in my head. And then the third thing that happened, it was a tragic story about a young man named Martin Lee Anderson. And this happened, about 13, 14 years ago, but he was a young man, went to boot camp, was there for 1 day. He was there 1 day, and they had him running around. He had stolen his grandmother's car before he was 14 years old, and he stole his grandmother's car, went to the store, stole candy, and when he got caught, they sent him to this boot camp, and he died that first day because they forced him to run laps, and he kept telling them he didn't feel good, and they still insisted that he run. No, you gotta run until he just passed out. He collapsed and he died. And the fallback from that, I mean, everybody was out. Every organization, every fraternity, every sorority. It was like justice for Martin Lee Anderson, justice for Martin Lee Anderson. Everybody, Civil Liberties Union, everybody was, on the courthouse steps, protesting. And I guess during that time, and I read this in the Essence magazine, I just read the story and I kept thinking to myself, what if all these people had intervened in this young man's life before it got to that point? If those same thousands and thousands of people had been there for his mom when she's working 3 jobs, trying to, make ends meet, making, $6-7 an hour. What if they had been there at his school, intervening when he's talking back to his teachers or falling asleep in class? What if they had come, what if everybody had been out there protesting instead of now he's dead and now we're all, we're rallying together for justice for him. And so, kind of got the wheels turning, like, why doesn't somebody do something? Why doesn't somebody do something to intervene with the children before it gets to that point? So all 3 things were taking place around the same time. And then this building came open, available, went up for sale. And I said, you know what? That probably would be a great place to have a community drum line, just where any child can come free of charge, pretty similar to what I was doing at the church. Didn't want to charge any fees or anything, but I just wanted it to be a place where kids could come, learn how to play the drums, be doing something positive off the streets, and give them an opportunity to get college scholarships eventually, and then give my son a place to be, to teach as well. So that was kind of the background. Those were the 3 things that were taking place that prompted me to actually start it.
So that is a phenomenal story within itself. I remember as a kid, in the younger days, I wanted to play the drums because I thought that was the cool thing, and you mentioned you're trying to make an outlet for the kids to come to and for them to be able to play. So what is the criteria? Is there an age group? Is there a criteria? Do you have guidelines? What does someone need to know about that if they want to get their child into this?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we first started, we just had it where anybody could come. It didn't matter what age you were. If you wanted to come back and relive your high school glory days or your college glory days, we had grown men, we had grown women, people with families. Anybody could come, any age group. And that worked for maybe about a month and a half. But you could never get a consistent group, because if you're, if you've got family, you're
right.
So you may be there on Tuesday, but you may not be there on Thursday, and you may not be there 2 weeks later. And it just was not really coming together. We did a few things and we were pretty successful, but we just could never do anything that was solid, to make a brand for us. So my son, who's the instructor, he said, Mom, this isn't going to work. He said, we need a consistent group, and we need a group that has to depend on their parents to get there. He said they have to depend on their parents. So that means like 5th grade through 9th grade. So that's where we cut them off. We cut off in 9th grade, because by the time you get in 10th grade, you get your driver's license, and we want you to move on. At that point, we want you to be part of your school band and whatever. So that was the criteria. We did that for maybe about a year or so, and then there was such a demand for a younger group that they kept saying, well, my child, he's only in 1st grade or 2nd, whatever. So I asked my son, I said, well, are you willing to do a younger group? And so he said, you want me to? Sure. So that's how the Mini Masters came about. The Stick Masters are the 5th through 9th grade group, and then the Mini Masters are the 1st through 4th grade group. Okay. So we started the Mini Masters and Stick Masters, which actually works out great, because now you have a continuous progression.
Right.
So once the Stick Masters age out, now you've got the Mini Masters that can come up and fill those positions. So we're actually training them to be performing as Stick Masters. So that's kind of how progression is. As far as guidelines, the only thing we do ask is that they have a commitment, and it's really hard to do, because when you're a free program, Um, then everybody they want to do everything else. They want to do sports. They want to do this. They want to play tennis. They want to play basketball. They want to play football. They want to play soccer. They want to play, I got, some kids playing ice hockey. And then it's like, oh, well, I've got a free Thursday. I'll go to drumline. And that didn't work. It just didn't work either. So what we said was we certainly don't want to limit the kids. We don't want to say, well, you can only do this, because we want them to be versatile as well. So what we started doing is we said, listen, you go ahead and you do whatever sports you want. Just stop for the season. And when you finish your season, banquet and all, then just come back. Mm-hmm. But it's, that way we still have our consistent group, and we're more than happy to have them, to come along, and they can, and they're always welcome back. We don't turn anybody away. That's pretty much the only, stipulation we ask. And some people abide by it. Some people try to slip by and hope that their practices don't interfere, but they usually always do. And there's no coach on the planet that's going to say, oh, sure, you can go to drum line. They typically are like, no, you want to play the game, you need to be here at the practice. And this, pretty much the same thing with drums. It's an instrument. If you don't practice, you need to be here. So, So
you all are just doing more than teaching someone how to actually play the drums. You all actually perform at different events, big events, even like the Talladega Raceway.
Yes.
I personally seen y'all at the Von Braun Center performing. Yes. So y'all do many events. Does your calendar stay full?
It stays packed. It is packed.
Wow.
But one of the reasons why there's a mom out here in the audience. Those of you who don't know, she's laughing like, yes, their schedule stays packed. But that's pretty much how people know about us, and that's through our performances. So we don't have money to advertise, and we don't have, we can't do a big marketing campaign, anything like that. So we have to rely on these performances. In addition to the fact, we're teaching them to be, performers. We're teaching them to be in front of large audiences. That's the whole idea. We want you to be in front of a large audience so you know what to expect when you do get in high school and when you do get in college. So there's also, there's a process. And eventually they're going to high school. They're hopefully going to go to college, and they're going to be playing in front of thousands and thousands of, sporting events and other activities. So that's our schedule. I'm going to say we probably, before COVID, we easily did 40, 50 events a year.
Wow.
Yeah, almost every weekend. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I try to tell parents ahead of time, and we know, yeah, it's fine. And then when they really get into it, it's like, oh my goodness, because these parents, remember, these kids can't drive, so they have to depend on their parents. So parents, it's like that's your whole weekend, your Sunday, your Saturday. So I try to give them enough. I'll try to post the calendar for the month every week, so how to plan your day. So if it's then on Saturday, okay, well, we can't do anything between, like this coming Saturday. We're performing at the 5K race, Cookie Dash. So we have to be there at 3, and I'll tell them we'll be done by 5:30, so they know that okay, between 3 and 5:30 we need to be out in Hampton Cove at Cookie Dash.
Right.
And so I try to give them a heads up. Every now and then we'll get a last minute call, but that's very rare. And most of the time I turn those down. It's like, no, I don't want to do that to the parents. But if it's somebody who's like, please, and they're paying us, big bucks.
Yeah.
Okay, parents, I need your help.
So I know my co-host here has a ton of questions and a ton of notes. So before I allow him to unleash those Q&As, I see you brought a stick master with us.
Sure did.
And you can give us tell us a little bit about him, and I know he's going to do a performance for us. So who is it that you brought here?
So this is Marquez Langford, and Marquez, he's so special to us, mainly because he's young, but he is actually our section leader. Remember, our mini masters are 1st and 4th grade. He started playing with us when he was, I think, 3rd grade, 4th grade. grade. I don't know. But anyway, he is so talented that he actually went up through the ranks and is actually over the entire group. And he is just now in the fifth grade. So he's just that phenomenal. He is. He is an outstanding drummer, outstanding leader, outstanding performer, and we're just really proud of him. So he's gonna do a little something, something. He's just he's not nervous at all. He's used to playing.
Well, Marquez, the floor is all yours. We're waiting to hear something special from you, sir. Ready when you are. Wow. Outstanding. I love the fact that he's poised and disciplined of how he's going about it and when he doesn't. I actually saw him performing and Brewster, when I saw it, I was amazed of everything they can do. So what? Go ahead. Let's see what you got going there.
I'm playing my air drums. I have a set of air drums here. Mr. Market, excellent. Charles, as you know, as you just said, we were both at the event, and I cued in on him. He's the smallest young man out there, but he was I could tell he was a leader.
And confident.
Right, very confident.
Yes.
The things that you can do with that. So, to my questions, I don't have many. I like the thought of a safe space aspect.
Correct.
Right? Mm-hmm. And through your desire to give your son something that's going to increase his desire for some things in the future besides possibly standing in the corner with the cup, right? That's a little much. I got it. He wasn't gonna do that, but there are things, But that safe space, and I could see that even in that performance that we happened to be a part of, to watch as a safe space. I think our communities need that. Was that also something that you were seeking for the children, the youth, when you created this?
Absolutely. Because first of all, let me just say this: my son, he actually, and I say this all the time. I say he did come to his senses after working a few jobs for $6, $7, $8 an hour, and he did go and get his degree. He graduated from Alabama A&M, my alma mater, in 2018. Yeah, so he did actually come. He did actually graduate. But one of the things that we are trying to do with the kids is we're trying to teach them leadership. Yes. Leadership is everything. These are our these are our front runners, our future front. I mean, they're now. Right. So what we're trying to instill in them is leading. Right. So, when he was on the drum line, when my son was on the drum line, when the new kids would come on, they were mean to him, they would harass him, they weren't nice at all. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. But now the goal is that when new people come on, if they're not doing anything or if they're doing something wrong, it's up to Marquez to fix it. It's up to the other kids in the drum line. You have to fix it. You're not allowed to say, you can't play, you can't do this, or you can't do that, because then my son is going to go for them. He's going to say, if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, it's your fault. It's your fault that you allowed them to come on this drum line and act a certain way. It's your fault that they're not playing the parts right. It's your fault that the parts are watered down. So he's getting on to the leaders like Marquez and saying, hey, you guys need to fix this. So it's all about the leadership. Right. So even if they decide they don't want to go to college, because we've got kids who've gone through our program, they're serving in the military. We've got one girl who's playing the cymbals in the Air Force Band.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes. Wow. Our assistant leader, and I call him our assistant because he's really our lead, almost our lead, but he started our program when he was 11 years old, and he's a senior at Alabama A&M now. Oh, wow. Started at 11, went through our program, came back and volunteered from 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th grade, and then when he came back in college, I started paying him. He's now on our payroll, but he's actually phenomenal. And when my son went back to school, this is how phenomenal he is. When my son went back to school, there were times when my son had to be up at A&M playing in the band or doing. He played in the jazz band. There were times when he couldn't be at practice. And this young man, Dominic took over. And he takes over now. I mean, he's like, if he shows up, or he's just amazing. So it's kind of come full circle.
Right.
I just hired another young man who also is at A&M. He's a junior. He signed up to go to the reserve. So he's serving our country again, but he's also in the band at A&M, but he went through our program. And so he just started a couple of weeks ago. So now these young people who have, been through our program are now coming back, and I can actually hire them to be instructors. And so that's a good feeling. I mean, because now it's like a little workforce development going on here. So we're contributing that way. These young people are doing amazing things with their life. They're being great. Our slogan is achieving greatness one beat at a time. So they're achieving their greatness. We have probably over $650,000 of scholarships that kids who've gone through our program have received. The young man at Tennessee State, their drum major, he went through our program. Yeah, he's a drum major now. He's about to graduate with just buku job offers and everything. So all of them, we can say that we actually had a part in their success stories, and that's pretty cool.
Well, I'm going to say to the viewers out there, if you listen to this story, there was a beginning. There was an idea. They put in the work that was associated with it.
A lot.
Right? And they stuck with it. It didn't mean that there weren't any ups and downs. That doesn't mean that he didn't have to, as we say, as we were doing entrepreneurship classes, there was a pivot in there. Mm-hmm. Anyone could come to, you had to restructure to create some consistency within the programs that you have. So that's one of the things I wrote down. I was talking about the consistency that I hear. But it didn't happen overnight. It didn't happen overnight. So what is the greatest need that you see within the community?
Within the community?
Yes. And then I'm going to ask you, the follow-up is within your.
I would just say more programs. I mean, we're just one piece. I mean, we're just one piece. We've got 60 kids on roll, but there's hundreds and thousands of kids who are out there. And I would just love to see more programs. It's not even about competition. It's not about me. It's about these kids. And they're just, they're dying, and there's tragedies, and they're making decisions that are not productive, and it's heartbreaking. And so, but because I know the other side of it, I know how hard it is, because this has not been an easy task. This was something that I used my own money to start. And I didn't start getting grants until maybe 2013, 2014. Because and I kept the program free. And then, I had that come to Jesus meeting with, come to Jesus meeting and said, Lord, if you want me to continue doing this, you're going to have to step up and help me out here. And he did. He showed up, showed out, and continues to show up and show out. And I am totally just beyond grateful for that. But it is not easy. And so I understand, before when I ask the question, why doesn't somebody do something? I understand why they don't. Because it is not easy to start a nonprofit. It is not easy to get support. Everybody wants to know, well, how are you sustainable? And I mean, that's a valid question, but they want to know it. And my response was always, I am sustainable. I got Social Security, I got a pension, I got a savings account. I'm fine. But is Marquez sustainable? Is he going to survive? So that's really the big question here. It's not about me. It's about, are these kids going to make it? What do we need to do to pour into their lives? So, and my goal has always been, I always said, if I have to start charging, I'm going to shut it down, because I don't want to ever charge. I want it to always be a free program. Because when, those years when I was struggling and having a rough time, and why don't you just start charging? Nope, that was never my vision. That's not what I want to do. So now that doesn't always work for entrepreneurs who are starting a business. I don't expect Marquez to give his sticks away for free. So we got to get to that too.
So one of the questions our viewers had, they were asking, what type of drum was Marquez using. So along with answering that question, can you also answer what all instruments are being used in the Huntsville drum line?
Absolutely, sure. So we're teaching the kids to play 5 different instrument options. They've got the snare, quads, bass drum, tenor, and then also the cymbals. So those are the 5 that we use in performances. We also just recently launched another program, which is actually music production. And that's free as well. And we actually have a professional music producer who comes in once a week, and he teaches them how to produce, how to engineer, how to do everything that your tech people are doing. He's teaching them how to master and things. And this is something we just launched not too long ago. So the drum that Marquez was using, this is a snare drum. This is one of our practice drums. We actually have a set of performance drums because you were at the performance, they were black drums.
Right.
So, but they fall apart, they break. Kids' drums in the hands of kids take quite a beating, because they just beat the crap out of those. And so we're always in need of drums. Always, 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 always. We're actually in need of a brand new set of performing drums because we've had these probably almost 10 years now. Right. And if you know the professional groups, like Drum Corps International, they change every season. But we're fixing ours. That's what Dominic is for. Dominic comes and he prepares and fixes, and we cannibalize the drums, take parts from other ones, and put them on the other one.
So, with this program being as awesome as it is, and listening to what you're doing and the passion that you have in it, is there any thoughts in taking that business model of the Huntsville drum line and moving it out, other cities, other states? Has that ever came about? Have you ever got calls that says, "Hey, how did you do this? I want to do this in my city. I want my kids to have a place to come to like this."
I get calls like that all the time, and I didn't have a lot of people to. One thing you'll find out in the business world and in organizations is people give you just enough information to get by, just enough, but they don't always tell you everything. And I'm thinking that it's probably because they're maybe thinking, well, they'll be in competition with me. I do just the opposite. If you ask me a question, I'm going to give you as much of a response as I possibly can. As a matter of fact, this mom sitting in the audience, she just texted me the other day and asked me about some fundraising. And I said, this is what we do. This is how we do it. And, even give her recommendations because I feel like there's enough kids out here that if I can help somebody else, and I'm more than welcome, more than willing to help, other people. Now, as far as taking Huntsville Drumline to a different place, that's probably a little bit, that wouldn't be manageable for me. I don't see that. Huntsville is my home. I don't want to have to see where I've got to go. And, maybe if I was younger, I might say, okay, well, I'm going to hop down the road to, somewhere else and check on. I don't want to do that. But there are things that I do want to do right here in this community. I would love to do. For example, we just launched a senior program for senior citizens. So we got the Grandmasters as well. So we do have that. But I would love to do, we're, minutes away from the homeless shelter. I would love to be able to do a little program for the children who are in the homeless shelter. Actually come over to them, once in a while and just come bring some drums over them so take their minds off their troubles. I would love to do one for veterans who may have suffered, PTSD syndrome, just a program for them. But that takes, of course, funding, and it also takes train professionals to be able to deal with that, and also people with developmental delays. Love to do a program for them as well. Those are all things that are in my long-term planning and goals that I would love to be able to do. So, and they're gonna happen.
So we were speaking with Marquez earlier, and Marquez, if you would, sir, if you want to stand up, and for my audience who don't know, I found out that Marquez himself is a young entrepreneur. He actually has started his own business, and what he does is he wraps sticks. If you want to show them some of your sticks, the sticks that you have, So he actually does this, and he sells those to those who are drummers, and he can do that for you professionally. And Mom, I don't know, are we shipping sticks yet? Are we shipping yet?
Yes.
Okay, there you have it.
He actually had a pair shipped to Tennessee. That was his first, and Milwaukee and Tennessee.
Outstanding. So he had a pair of sticks shipped to Milwaukee and to Tennessee. I love the fact that he is so young, so poised, so disciplined, and he's an entrepreneur. Knowing that that's what CNI Solutions does, we teach entrepreneurship. And for this young man to have the wisdom to start a business is outstanding. That is outstanding.
Can we get his information out there to the viewers?
Yeah, Mom, is there information that we can give to the viewers so that they can, if they want to get a hold of Marquez and get some of his sticks like that? Well, our producer will go ahead and put that in the chat for anyone who is looking to get a hold of Marquez and some of his sticks and get them wrapped. I think that would be an awesome thing. I mean, I love it. It almost makes me want to play the drum again. You know, when I see that design, because when I first saw him, I thought he bought the sticks until I was just told, oh no, I did that for this show. So that was very, very impressive. So we'll make sure our producer does put that information in the chat for anyone who is looking to purchase some of Marquez's sticks and his stick design, which is super awesome, super great.
Yeah.
You know,
we need to support our youth because without them there is no tomorrow.
There's no future.
right.
Right. So appreciate that. Charles, I don't have any more questions. I guess you talked about small business, but I just want to just applause because you listened. You listened to what was being said to you from a spiritual standpoint, and you're providing for our community.
Right.
And for those out there that are watching, there are other communities that are in need of this. Our children are very, very important to our future. Super duper important. So kudos. Applause.
Yes. Definitely. Ms. Walker, anything that you like to add or want to share with our viewers?
So sure, of course. Well, you mentioned that we did go to Talladega and we played for the races, played for the spectators who were coming to watch the races. We did that twice. We did that last year, but this year we've got something really special that's about to take place next month, as a matter of fact. So the opening of the Orion Amphitheater, the first waltz, that's coming up May 13th, 14th, and 15th. And we are one of the featured performers on the 15th, Sunday the 15th.
Wow.
So we're pretty excited about that. We're making history, and we're going to come and we're going to do a little show. And it's just really exciting because every time I drive by there, it doesn't look as if it's going to be ready. But my understanding is, hey, this is going to happen. We're going to do it, and it's going to happen next month. And so we're going to be there.
Wow,
yeah,
that is awesome. That is awesome.
So we're proud to be
love it.
invited to do that. And then I also, excuse me, I wanted to also say that this program is open to any child grades 1st through 9th. So, like I said, we just prefer that you not be involved in 40,000 other different activities, but they're more than welcome to come after we do this show, May 15th. We typically have open enrollment sometimes all year long, but with this show coming up, we'll start open enrollment after that. But it's a free program. They do pay for their uniforms, but the program itself, instruction, it's free. And then we do have a program for the grandmasters, and that's twice a month. So reach out to us, and we would love to have the senior adults to come out and be there. I'm a part of that group. It's pretty cool. I love, just being there. It's a release in a sense. And a lot of people have said, oh no, I can't. I don't have any rhythm. But one thing about my son, he is the most amazing teacher ever. I mean, he could teach a rock to play the drums. And I used to tell people, I'm telling you, I used to tell people,
you're out of man. You see that? No, there ain't no gun.
Yeah, I used to say that about when I was teaching. I would say I could teach a rock how to read, and so I know he gets the teaching aspect. He gets it from his mom. But when it comes to drums, you don't have to have rhythm. I mean, we had somebody who came, a news reporter. She came in to do a little story, and I mean, within 5 minutes, he had her playing the drums.
Wow, wow.
So he said, if you can count, you can play drums.
Outstanding, outstanding. I love it. I love it. I appreciate you guys coming in to speak with us and take the time and to show off the Huntsville drumline. And Marquez, I applaud you, sir, for everything that you are doing. I applaud you for your leadership. I applaud you for your entrepreneurship. That is awesome, awesome, awesome. Team out there, again, you know, we try to give you things that you may not have heard of, and we hope that you enjoyed it. If there's something you can share with someone out there who may not know about the Huntsville drumline, and you have a young child, and I'm assuming this is men and women, correct?
Oh yeah.
Men and women, boys and girls. Boys and girls, no, it is a free event. There is no registration fee for it. You just have to pay for your uniform and all the drum lessons and the activities. I'm sure they'll give you more information on that when you call to sign up for that. So share this broadcast with someone who can use it. Take time to like, take time to subscribe, and as always, coming up for the future, we got a lot of things coming up, and one of our biggest events we got coming up here in the next couple months is going to be our fresh back to school Braid-a-thon. It's going to be the second annual one, and that's going to be held at the Bob Harrison Senior Citizens. We plan to make it bigger and better this year, and we hope to get a whole bunch of young girls and young boys back to school looking good. So be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for that. We will be talking about that. So as always, just always remember, your yesterday is not your today, and your today is not your tomorrow.